Matt for Sound on Sound here again at SynthFest UK. We've just heard Yamaha UK's Dom give us a fantastic demo of the CS80 playing through the new montage synthesizer. But I wanted to return to the CS80 because it's such an extraordinary instrument. I forget every time I see one of these things just how big they are. And with me here is Pete Banks. This is actually his instrument. He's owned it since new, from 1978, I believe. Is that
yeah,
right,
1978 bought it. Yeah,
that's right, and owned it ever since. And I understand it's you call it the Beast.
Well, I do, because as you said, it is so heavy, and it's sort of 227 pounds in old money and 100 kilograms in new money. So
that must get annoying moving it around, or at least you have somebody to do it for you.
No, it's a two-person lift minimum, and
and
so I have lifted it on my own in the past, but
yes,
not anymore.
Not to be recommended.
No.
Health and safety being what it
yes,
is.
indeed.
Yeah, absolutely. So you owned it in 1978, and you used it extensively from that time on. Is that right?
Well, in fairness, it was the band that I was in at the time. It was that ensemble that we bought it as one of our instruments that we used, and Yamaha were very generous to us and helped us buy it, allowing us to pay for it over a period of time. And we also went for the drums.
It was always
as well.
very expensive, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. I mean, around at the time, I think it was about $4,500, and you're going back to the 70s, which is a lot of money now.
Absolutely.
And I think we paid quite a bit less than that. But
right.
as you say, I've had it, and it's been in my possession ever since, and I've cherished it, and it's been through a couple of rebirths, because it did pack up a couple of times, so I had to get it redone.
Well, these are very complex instruments, aren't they? And finding replacement parts for them is not straightforward any longer.
It isn't, and the last guy that did it had to really go out to the wilds of everything from Yamaha clubs to eBay, just everywhere, to try and find components that were perhaps from, sadly, one of the 2,000 that were probably originally built.
Absolutely,
that have been cannibalized.
It's not, you certainly can't go and get these parts any longer, so it's a question of finding sort of a defunct instrument and cannibalizing it to
and that's sad in a way. However, since I've been doing this, one of the guys that got in touch with me, because we put some stuff on YouTube, and he got in touch and said he kept buying these cannibalized or ones that were supposed to be cannibalized, and he was able to fix them, so he's landed up with this array of CS80s. Having that wasn't his original mission, but lucky him.
Absolutely, and I'm sure if he doesn't want them, there'll always be a buyer somewhere who's prepared to take it off his hands.
Yes, absolutely.
These are instruments that can you, if you can afford one. Everybody dreams of having one. I certainly
yes, it is, and I probably back in the day didn't value it as much as it is.
Right, it was your workhorse, I guess.
It was, and I probably treated it with not the greatest respect.
Right.
Now, end of the show, I used to the keyboard was angled like that for the performance. It was on wooden blocks on the pedal board, and then an A-frame which supported the lower part. A couple more keyboards. Other brands are available.
Indeed.
And so, the culmination is I would have my foot on there and there, ready to jump over the top, and so yes, probably not the greatest respect.
No, absolutely, and I don't think you're going to be doing that with this one any longer, are you?
I think it's more about me.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
No, I think it could still bear my weight, but
probably, yeah. They are built like a tank, aren't they?
They're hugely heavy, as we mentioned earlier.
And we heard Dom's demo just now, and just reminding us of some of the great things that this instrument can do.
Yeah.
The ring modulation, the polyphonic aftertouch, which for a 1970s instrument is quite extraordinary. And
he's put that into overdrive at the moment.
Yes,
the ring mod.
Absolutely. Well, straight away I could see Tom Baker striding through a foam jungle in 1978, dressed as a cactus. It's very evocative. I think makes us think of all the great Radiophonic Workshop scores and all that kind of thing.
Yes.
And of course the enormous ribbon controller as well. And we're only just sort of starting to see that kind of thing, strangely enough, return to instruments.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me, it's the polyphonic aftertouch that is so expressive that you can just bring that note in. Let's see.
And it's the archetypal hands-on instrument, isn't it? I mean, a panel here full of faders for your delectation to adjust as you wish in real time.
And now, although I've had it some time, I would say I'm still discovering things about it. It's not a straightforward synth.
No.
And I do think it's a player's instrument,
Yeah.
and it has that kind of life to its behaviour.
Yes, absolutely.
Acoustically, because you get things that happen that you don't expect. I mean, sometimes it will play a completely wrong note.
Yes.
And you have played the notes in the right order.
Right, but it's just being temperamental.
But that's kind of a real character,
Part of its charm.
just in a band situation, a lot of the audience may not notice it, but the band just grins at one another and knows, oh yeah, we go.
It's
the beast is playing up. But
absolutely.
just for that second, it probably won't happen for another 3 or 4 dates.
No, sure,
So
sure. And you're right. I mean, operating synthesizers these days can be very much sort of more of a technical process. But this is very much. I mean, not just because it's got the keyboard on the front, but it's very much a performance instrument, isn't it?
Absolutely. And really, this whole section here is performance controls. And
Yes,
even on these 2 banks,
Yeah.
you've got performance controls
Sure.
in each bank.
Yeah.
Yes, it's organic in that respect, because these are variable. It's not dialing a number.
No, sure.
So you might move that,
Yeah,
and
continuous.
it's completely different the next time you play it.
Yes.
It's not quantizing to
No,
a particular
there's no stepping,
definite.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, fully analog.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fascinating to hear it, and it's great to see it. As I say, I'm always amazed at how big these things are when I actually stumble across one every now and then. So, thank you very much, Pete, for
you're very
taking the time
welcome.
to show us this amazing instrument, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you very much, and lovely to meet you. And
Cheers.
I hope your interviews and you discover something wonderful as well as this.
Oh yeah, there's plenty more to see. All right,
All right.
thanks very much.
Cheers.